Here we are again in freethedice.com, and I would like to explain to you what kicking is and how to set up the kicking options for a game. When you're playing online games, every now and again your opponent might take too long to play their turn, or they might get distracted from the computer, they might fall asleep, their house might blow up, their internet might cut off. And whilst it's nice, it's polite to wait for other players, you don't want to wait forever. And if you're the one who's delayed, you also wouldn't want that everyone else is sat in the game waiting for you. If you imagine sitting around a table playing a board game, one person suddenly vanishes, I mean, how long are you going to wait before they suddenly reappear? You don't want to waste your evening. So we have to have a mechanism for removing people from the game if they don't play in a timely fashion. We'll just put here example for kicking. Give it a name, that's all. Game type, normal Yahtzee. Maximum number of players. If we have only one player, I can't really kick myself, so I have to select more than one player. Let's have 8 players, it doesn't matter. And you'll see all these options changed. If I go back to one player, we don't get any extra special options and the game is not rated. If we go to more than one player, we get some extra stuff. Okay, now let's scroll down. Special options, fast Yahtzee, allow spectators, show in-game scores. Right, now we come to kicking. You can limit the maximum amount of time a player can take on any one turn. So for example, if a player doesn't play their turn within 3 minutes, they can be kicked from the game. Okay, you can turn that off. You can say there's no turn limit if you want to. Alright, we're going to put it back on 3 minutes. Then you can give each player a maximum amount of time for the whole of all of their turns. Right, so if you're playing regular Yahtzee, what's that, 13 turns in a game? You might expect someone should take 30 seconds a turn, for example, so they should be done in 7 minutes. So let's say if they take longer than 10 minutes, they're holding things up too much. So we'll put a maximum of 10 minutes. So now, if someone takes more than 3 minutes on their turn, or they take more than 10 minutes for their entire game, they can be kicked and removed from the game, which just allows everyone else to continue. That's it. That's all you have there to set. Now, some people get a bit upset when they get kicked from a game. They take it personally and want to fight and blame someone. So you can have the computer do that for you. So if you want to have automatic kicking, you click yes. Now if someone goes past those time thresholds, they get kicked by the system. If this is set to no, that means that another player will have to click on the kick button. Alright, so now that these are set, that means that somebody could be kicked by another player after those time limits have been reached. Alright, then down here, this is just your information. The game will be closed and scored after a maximum of 30 minutes if it doesn't finish naturally beforehand. Right, that's because we have 3 players in the game, and each one is allowed a maximum of 10 minutes. So if everybody disappears, after 30 minutes, 3 times 10, the game's going to finish by itself. If you didn't finish your turns, that's tough. You get the score that you ended with. Now you can set no time limit. However, the problem now is that if a player disappears, you're sitting at the table and someone vanishes, the rest of you are stuck in that game if that player never returns. And it tells you here, there's a warning. If players do not play their turns, the game may never finish. So it's better to put a time limit. If you're playing with people that you play with every day, you can have a really long time limit. You can have a 1 hour time limit for the game. That's pretty long. Okay, or you can put a day limit for the game time. Now, some of our players, they like to play with people from all over the world. So if you're in a different time zone, then what do? Well, you'll have no maximum time limit for the game, but here you can give a day per turn. Okay? So that means if I play my turn today, my opponent can play any time up to within 24 hours. So that way you can play your game over a very long period. And here you'll see the game timeout is now adjusted. Let's go to 2 players. Let's have a 2-player game. If we take a day each, the game will be closed after 26 days. Okay, so you can play, it's what we call postal Yahtzee, and that's not the US version of postal Yahtzee where you go psychopath and try to kill everybody. So hopefully that's shown you how to set up the kick options for the game. It's very simple. There's only 2 limits really. I recommend that you give 3 minutes per turn and 10 minutes per game. Unless you're playing triple or painted, maybe make that 20 minutes. That's the best way to set it up.